All right. There he is, Mr. Stick.
I wanted to learn something about Inter Miami, man.
Hey, I want to know, Mr. Stick. So why is it Stick with me, and then all of a sudden with Boomer Esiason, it's the real deal?
That's fair. That's fair. Your remarks are fair. Hey, I have a question before we dive into Tua Love, which is totally fine. I have one quick question. If you had 2 tickets for the first Miami Marlins playoffs game this year,
yes,
or 2 tickets for a Messi game for the remainder of this year, it's not even close?
It's not even close.
Marlins playoff. Okay.
Marlins is the last thing I want to see.
I didn't even realize that there's only 6 games left and they're 1 out.
Yeah, no, I know exactly, but they're frauds because until you really commit to winning, it's nice. You're flirting with the playoffs, and they've kind of done this many times over the years where they're hovering around 500 and they come right down the stretch or whatever, and it's great. It's been fantastic for them and all that. I just need to know that you're really committed. Where I know Inter Miami is more than committed. I know the Dolphins are more than committed. I know the Panthers are more than committed. I know the Heat is more than committed. You know what I'm saying? And so that's where I'm going to lean more to the teams that are going above and beyond for the fans. You're trading for Kachuk. You're going above and beyond. You're bringing in Messi. You're going above and beyond, dude. You're trading for Tyreek Hill. You're going above and beyond, trading for Jalen Ramsey. That's what I love. I love teams that give a shit about winning, and that's my problem with the Marlins. The Marlins have sucked the love for baseball out of me, dude.
But it's hard to understand. They're 1 game out of a playoff position. There should be excitement. Now, I live 45 minutes to an hour north of you. I was wondering if people who live closer to you are into this. The Marlins.
I don't think so.
Whose fault is that? Whose fault is that? Whose fault?
The Marlins' fault. It's the Marlins' fault. Because the problem is nobody believes that this is anything real. It's just a nice little flirt, and then you go back to being the team you've been for the next couple of years, where you don't make the playoffs and you don't commit to players and you don't keep a core ever, and that's the problem. People know. Whereas everything else that I just talked to you about, people are investing. They're making long-term commitments to players, to stars. The Heat are in the middle of trying to add a superstar in Damian Lillard. They never stop trying to be the best. Not, hey, let's see if we can barely do enough to get into a playoff. That's bogus.
I got you. Now, the Heat, the Panthers, and the Dolphins are not only good, they're extremely entertaining. They are very fun. Yeah. Very fun. And so we should appreciate that not only are the Dolphins good, they're not boring. They're so much more interesting and exciting and creative and dynamic and fun. And they're doing the conga line, and they got Tyreek jumping into the stands, and they got their head coach coming up with crazy plays. This is an unbelievable time for you to be hosting a podcast.
That's right. And the greatest touchdown dance in the history of mankind.
It was great.
The Tua train was just absolutely.
And it was very simple. It only took 5 minutes to put together. Sometimes the most brilliant things come together very quickly.
So now you're coming to see the light that I wasn't really a homer of Tua. I just had better vision of Tua than most of you.
I mean, listen, The Athletic surveyed, I don't know what it was, 250 executives, scouts, and coaches, and they didn't think that this was coming. So you're the guy. You're the only one. It's you.
I know.
All right. So
hey,
now
I'm the only guy. I'm the only guy that wrote an article in The Athletic, said it on Sirius, and said it on QAM. Fire Tannenbaum, fire Gase, and put Greer in place. I'm the only guy that said that. And so
you were also on to the fact that Flores might get fired. So listen, sometimes you talk over me. You're a little bit loud, but you do have a tendency to get some things right.
I'm Cuban. I get a shitload of things right. Whether you want to admit it or anybody else wants to admit it
Now
or not,
listen.
I get a
All right.
fuck ton of shit right. Okay?
Now what about this? All right.
Not some, I get a ton right. That's all. And I can brag about it because it happens.
Now
So,
listen.
you know, you
Listen,
guys can all-
Tua Tagovailoa has been excellent. He's the MVP leader. We love him. Nothing negative here. I just want to ask you your opinion on this.
you're on the train all the way now.
Yeah. Listen, if he stays healthy. Now, here's the thing.
Of course, that's it.
Now, what's the difference between this year and last year? Because through 3 games, his attempts, completions, touchdowns, and interceptions are identical, and the team record is identical. It's the spookiest thing. It's completely identical. Attempts, completions, touchdowns, interceptions, team wins. So what is different? Why is this not going to come apart at the seams?
Well, because of the injuries. That's the only thing that tore them apart last year. And this year, they're actually better depth-wise and talent-wise. So it's all down to the injuries. Once again, you can't compete if your starting quarterback is out and your entire secondary is dead, and you're missing a couple of your linemen also, which then you have backups in there. And now all your linemen, they're all in the second year of this thing. All the receivers that Tyreek even admitted he didn't know the entire playbook that well. Now he knows it inside and out. The quarterback knows it inside and out. He admitted in the first year, because the truth is most players in the history of the NFL don't know their playbook in the first year. It's just that Tua is sometimes honest to a fault. And then he says some things that actually educate everybody else about what's really going on, but they spin it into some kind of a negative type of thing. So to me, the difference is everybody now is in the same system for 2 years in a row. By the way, you'll see the defense next year for Fangio.
Wow. We can't wait for that. But listen, interesting point you make. The one offensive lineman who's not in the second year of the system is Isaiah Wynn, the left guard from New England, who obviously the Dolphins were right. He's a guard, not a tackle. Okay. He's allowed no pressures through 3 games. All right. I spoke to him about the scheme. Now, this does not take away from the talent. They have both. They have talent and scheme. All right. So he said that he loves the scheme because it keeps the defense on its heels with misdirection. They can never go towards the quarterback. They're constantly guessing and trying to figure out where to move side to side. And he's a smart guy, this Isaiah Wynn. I like him. I enjoy talking to him. He said that McDaniel's offense is like a jigsaw puzzle, and that McDaniel just every week adds pieces and the puzzle gets bigger and bigger. I like that, the way he set that up, because McDaniel always talks about how trying to come up with a game plan and calling the right plays each week is like solving a puzzle. So these guys are all on the same page. And I just thought that was a beautiful analogy from Isaiah Wynn, who's been excellent. Isaiah Wynn, Robert Hunt, and Connor Williams, and I know this with a few bad snaps, but other than that, the guy's a monster. All right.
Yeah.
Has been as good as the interior 3 of any offensive line in the NFL.
Yeah. No, it's and again, we have to give McDaniel, Frank Smith credit, and McDaniel again, because he brings
the O-line coach
in, and the fact that Butch Berry, along with those 2 guys, they've been able to get all of these guys to perform. And we can't forget that they picked up a Brandon Shell off the street and then Robert Jones off the bench, and they got them to do a serviceable job last year just to kind of stay afloat.
And it was Frank Smith. So Butch Barry is doing, I talked to the lineman, he's using the same coaching points as Frank Smith. Matt Applebaum, good college line coach, but didn't have the experience with the coaching points. And in this offense, for years, we watched Jesse Davis, nicest guy in the world, trying to block monster defensive linemen one-on-one and just survive. And the great thing about this line scheme is they attack a point. They don't care about just trying to survive the attack of one guy. They're on the attack.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's really, and part of a coach's job. It's one of the things that I complained about throughout the Flo tenure was that the play design was never there. It just was terrible. It doesn't help the players. And that's your job as a coach. You have to know what your talent is, and then you have to then design the play to help them actually succeed. It's not just, hey, let's run the ball between the left guard and the right tackle. Everybody block. Let's go. And just break huddle. Let's go. No, dude, there has to be a method to the madness. And that's what I love about this guy. That's why it's so much different than the crap we saw under Flo.
And it's no mistake that the Dolphins and Niners are two of the three undefeated teams running the same scheme. Yeah. Okay. Brock Purdy, all right, looks real good. Now, I'm not suggesting that that's the only reason Tua looks real good. Tua is better than Brock Purdy.
Oh, God.
Tua has more natural talent, ability, accuracy than Brock Purdy, but the offense is helping, and that's why many people are now picking Miami and San Francisco to have a rematch in the Super Bowl. I remember I was wow. What year was that, bro?
What year or what?
I was born in 74. So what was the Marino Super Bowl? Was it 85?
85. Yeah, 85. Yeah.
So I was 11. That's the same age as my daughter. So that was a long time ago, man. We got to appreciate this. This is a long time coming.
Trust me, I appreciate it. Trust me, I definitely appreciate it. I already got my Airbnb in Vegas again, so we're set for Super Bowl week if it happens.
It's $1,500 a night at the Bellagio. That's a little pricey.
Yeah, no,
I don't think I could go. I don't think I can go Bellagio.
No, bro, Airbnb is the way I go. That's the best way to go.
But how far away from the stadium, or how far away from the strip?
Literally, my pad that I got, I'm about 8 minutes away from the strip, so I'm not far from the strip. So I got it. But I got my pad ahead of time. So if you want to wait till you find out that they're actually going, oh my God, your Airbnb is gonna be 100 miles away at that point. You know what I mean? I wasn't gonna take that chance. Last year I didn't take the chance, but they got all the injuries this year. And this year, this is what I love, Joe. Tua's playing like Marino. It's what I talked about last year 100 times over. Marino never held down to the ball, bro. I watched him his entire career. It's a snap. It's a decision as quick as possible and get rid of it. And if there wasn't anything there in 2 seconds, brother, by the third second, that ball was already in the third row. He didn't waste any time. And that's what I love about what he's doing. He is not wasting any time. He is making a quick decision. He's thrown the ball away. He's thrown it to the floor. He's slid. He's playing smart.
You're right. But there's going to be a cheap shot or two coming. It's coming. Matt Milano in that Bills game that started the whole thing with the concussions.
Sure.
Shoved him late.
But don't bring it on yourself. Bring it on yourself. That play with Matt Milano, it was still past 3 seconds. That was 3.85 seconds. It was still too long that he held on to the ball.
And if he gets shoved backwards, I think he's got a better chance now to tumble. Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, no, I agree. There's dude, I took judo. So when all this thing started, I know all about it. Because in judo, they spend time in just teaching you how to fall. You literally will spend half your class working on falling sometimes. And you're like, what the hell, bro? What the hell? And then when it happens, you notice that it comes in natural and you're like, oh, okay, this is cool. Okay, I broke.
Let me ask you this. If Milano shoves Tua down to the ground backwards late after the play, which offensive lineman is most likely to slug Milano in the head? Is it Armstead? Is it Hunt? Is it Wynn?
Hunt.
Hunt is the nicest guy. He's a big teddy bear, but he is a freaking monster. He turns into a different dude. By the way, this is very random, but I went to the Sawgrass Mills Mall yesterday with my daughter to get her a birthday present. We ran into Andrew Van Ginkel and his family. Couldn't have been nicer. My daughter was fascinated with I had to show her the video clips. She's like, that guy that we just met is the guy that does that to the quarterback? She couldn't believe it was the same guy. Couldn't have been nicer.
Yeah.
A lot of good guys in that Dolphins locker room.
Yeah. And I'm happy for Andrew Van Ginkel because, again, you got to a flower needs water to grow, a dog needs love to grow, your child needs love and support in order to grow. You see it happening with Tua and Mike McDaniel. There was never that they didn't give Andrew Van Ginkel enough love in prior coaches. And I like now that this guy has really looked at Andrew Van Ginkel and said, this dude's a playmaker. I need to get him on the field because somehow or another, he has a knack of being around some kind of a play or the ball. And I'm glad that somebody has actually noticed that because.
And on a team with Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb and Emmanuel Ogbah, guess who leads the Dolphins in pass rush win rate? It's Andrew Van Ginkel, the guy from a little school, right? He started off in what do they call that? JUCO. He went through the JUCO route. He's from Iowa. They brought him back. They said, he was going to play just special teams. He's a demon, man. I love it.
Matthews, bro. He looks like a Matthews right now. You know what I'm saying?
With the hair. They both got the hair going, that's for sure.
And they play the werewolf type of game. It is the same kind of game.
He's relentless. He's relentless.
I'm saying he's Clay Matthews. All I'm saying is I'm seeing characteristics of Clay Matthews, the way he plays out there with his hair on fire. Okay, because that's how he plays. It's the same exact game. Oh, what did you see from Eichenberg? Because I thought he did a pretty good job. A couple, high snaps, which Connor does the same thing. Which, by the way, I think Tua's gotten really damn good at grabbing the higher ball and then doing whatever he has to do. He's gotten pretty good at that.
Yeah, Eichenberg played more than I realized because I was writing a column, so I didn't really realize how long he was in there. And it seemed okay. Maybe the Dolphins have something here with him as a backup center. Obviously, Connor Williams is day-to-day, and the Dolphins are hoping he's just fine for that huge game on Sunday at Buffalo. 74 degrees and sunny. I personally like having the Buffalo game in September there, and then the Bills come here later in the season. I like it that way, but I know some of the fans think it's an advantage to have the hot weather and the Bills coming here. So can't wait for Sunday. I know you're going to ask me for a prediction, and I haven't really formulated one yet. I need to come up with a reason. I'm going to pick the Dolphins unless I can find some reason not to. Some really great reason not to.
You should.
Yeah. So as of now, I'm picking the Dolphins to win.
Right now, I think the Dolphins are the better team, and I think the Dolphins have the better passer. Okay? Didn't say quarterback. Passer. And so I think that's what's going to make the difference. What I was talking about before you came on, I think the key for the Dolphins, stop the run. And what I mean by that is not just a running game, but Josh Allen. You cannot make him
maybe a spy. Maybe a spy because this defense gives up rushing yards. So let's see, who's a good spy? Channing Tindall, David Long, Jerome Baker. They're all athletic. So the Dolphins are well positioned with athletic linebackers.
How about Van Ginkel is the guy that maybe I would because Van Ginkel will have a little bit more meat on the bone than Baker, and I think he would hit a little harder than Baker. But do you agree? See, I if I'm the Dolphins, I want to force Josh Allen to beat me with his arm because his arm is not consistent. It'll get erratic. It'll make mistakes. He will make mistakes. But if you allow him to get his legs in the offense, then it just becomes a real monster and a real difficult challenge for you. So for me, make them one-dimensional. Force them to pass. I don't believe their receiving core is that good. I believe outside of their top receiver, everybody else is very coverable, and you can take care of them. So it's either their number one receiver and their tight ends is what they're going to attack you. But you cannot allow Josh Allen's legs to be a factor in this game.
And Javon Holland studies the film to see which opposing players are vulnerable to the fumble. It won't take a lot of film research to figure out which Bills offensive player fumbles.
Yeah, no, I mean that's he obviously was smart enough and knew that Sutton had a way of holding the ball that was accessible to it, and he took advantage of it. And boy, Sutton on the sidelines was one frustrated hombre. I'll tell you that. Talk to me about the running game and the holes. You do the tape
don't lie. Yeah.
Tape don't lie segment. So talk to me a little bit about what you saw from the offensive line, because these are monster holes that are being opened.
Yeah, I mean, Chris Kerr has done a nice job of adding athletic offensive linemen. Connor Williams is very athletic for a center. Austin Jackson is very athletic for a tackle. Teron Armstead looked great. Robert Hunt is a future Pro Bowler, at least he should be. So we have a lot of players who are popping up on the screen well downfield. And that's something that you just didn't see. You saw for years Dolphins offensive linemen being pushed back into the backfield, and now you see them 15 yards downfield. Very impressive. It's just, man. And there's no reason to trade for a running back now. No reason. They're fine.
There wasn't ever a reason to trade for it, bro. And now they'll trade for anybody, but if you want to give them low-hanging fruit, they'll do it. That's the only way they were going to do it. That's the craziness of all this stuff. Everybody is thinking like they desperately need it. No, dude, they're looking for low-hanging fruit. And this week, they were with their number 1, number 4, and number 5 backs because their 2 and 3 were injured. So it shows you even the third kid, Chris Brooks, he had 66 yards on 9 carries, dude. I mean,
he's a big kid. I like him as a developmental prospect for sure. Hey, soon Tua Tagovailoa and Mike McDaniel and the Dolphins players are going to be made available to us in the media. So look for our content on the Palm Beach Post website. Please subscribe. Right now, you can get $1 for 6 months, which will carry you through, let's see, was it October, November, December, January, Super Bowl. There you go. Sign up now. Miami Dolphins Super Bowl special on the Palm Beach Post.
There you go. And follow him on Twitter at Schad Joe. Joe, as always, thank you. We will catch up later next week, my friend. You be good.
Thanks, bud. All right, take care.
There you go, the great Joe Schad. Mr. Shtick, Essential Moving Experts, Miami Dolphins Exchange, and call my guy Sean Williams, because Sean and company, they know how to get it done, folks. Anywhere in the country, if you need to move your business, your home, they can even store your goods for up to a month on the house. Now, if you need it longer because the new building where you're moving the business to or your home is not ready yet, then you can negotiate a longer stay for your stuff. But if you need to move it from within a city, within a county, from state to state, it doesn't matter. Their home base is in Daytona, but they service the entire country. In fact, Marcel Louis-Jacques just used this service to move from Day to Broward County. So you can do it too. Essential Moving Experts. Give them a ring, 386-213-4054. Flat rates, by the way. No surprise charges, because that's what Marcel, he called around and then called Essential. I go, hey, dude, go ahead, call around, get a couple prices, and then call Essential Moving Experts, right? The problem is when you call around, you know what they do? They give you a ballpark figure. Well, it could be 1,100 up to 1,700. Huh? You mean you can't give me a flat rate? No, we can't do that. Essential Moving Experts gives you a flat rate. So you don't have to deal with that silliness. Oh, well, it could be 2,000, could be 3,000. What do you mean? Well, it all depends, this, that. No. Flat rate, no surprise charges. You call essentialmovingexperts.com.